Weather and flooding are all going to be a problem this week, with severe weather making a reappearance starting tomorrow and into the weekend, most likely, as well as excessive rainfall for California, parts of Texas, and the middle part of the country in the coming days. So, as far as severe weather, we don't have anything on the books until tomorrow, right? And it's not that big of a risk tomorrow, but we do have a general marginal risk from parts of South Dakota here all the way down into Texas, right? And so this threat is driven mostly by wind here, with a marginal risk of winds exceeding 15 knots or around 58 miles per hour within 25 miles of a given location, different parts of South Dakota through Nebraska down towards Kansas here. All right. And we have a little bit extending into parts of Wyoming and northeastern Colorado. All right, but not a huge risk here. The hail risk extends pretty much the whole extent of the marginal risk here. But really, this is going to be an overnight type event, probably on Wednesday night into Thursday, with the potential of marginally severe hail, maybe 1 inch in diameter here. What I'm going to do here, just so y'all know, I'm going to go through all the severe and the excessive rainfall outlooks. So you just want to look at that. Then I'm going to go break down the synoptic pattern. After that, if you want to stick around for that, um, get into the weeds a little bit about this pattern and the what's going to happen here. So going into Thursday, we already have a marginal risk with a slight risk categorical here, probabilistic, excuse me, 15% severe, all the way up into parts of Minnesota, down towards Oklahoma. All right. And the marginal risk goes all the way back to Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas here. And so the biggest risk, of course, is in this hatched area where we could have, I think this is mostly driven by a hail or wind risk, probably a hail risk, given the dry line and cold front interactions here. All right. Tornado risk will be present, but I don't think that's going to be the biggest threat here in the for this day's severe threat anyway. Now we go into Friday. I'm not going to get too much into the weeds with this because this will likely change, but this is your overall severe risk for Friday, okay? Parts of southern Missouri, slight risk, Arkansas here, into parts of Texas towards Dallas, back towards Oklahoma City. Just overall 15% chance of severe weather within 25 miles of a given location, right? But this is going to change, like I said. Now we go into Saturday. The threat moves further to the south and west here. Now we have a slight risk in Arkansas, parts of Kansas, Missouri, most of Oklahoma here, extending southward into south central Texas towards Austin, Wichita Falls. All right, so that's Saturday. Going into Sunday, the threat is pretty much in the same area here, although not quite as far south here. Most of Arkansas again, parts of Missouri, Kansas, Dallas, Oklahoma City are all in this so high populated areas where this threat is. And going into Monday, right? Or almost, this is 7 days out now, right? So today's day one, right? So today's Tuesday. Pretty crazy that we got severe weather this far out already. The threat shifts further to the east here. Okay, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, parts of Missouri here. All right, and Kentucky, and looks like parts of Arkansas and Louisiana as well, all the way back towards Shreveport, Jackson. Just a large area here, Birmingham. So this area to the south, the southern mode of this, in Dixie Alley, hasn't seen a lot of severe weather this year, at least not recently. So we'll have to see how this plays out in the coming days. Now, as far as excessive rainfall goes, move this out of the way. We have this marginal risk down here in Texas today and up into California. And here's your predicted amounts of total precipitation, right? Centered in this area here where we have our flood risk, right? Move this over. And in the California mountains as your upper level feature moves through today. Into tomorrow, we have a marginal risk again in southern Texas, parts of southern Louisiana, right along the Gulf Coast, right? But not expecting a lot of rain. But they've had rain on and off for quite a few days now, so the flooding risk is definitely higher just because of that. So let's see. This is for Thursday. So this marginal flooding risk shifts further to the north and to the north here, right? Centered on Kansas City, parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and surrounding areas here. Okay, and St. Louis as well. It kind of moves, where you saw the severe threat, we have a flooding risk as well in these general areas, right? So, um, and this is your precip totals expected for that day's flooding risk. So centered on, let's see here, parts of the Kansas-Missouri border here from Osceola, Missouri to Eureka, really expecting maybe a couple inches of rain here. All right, gets my days mixed up here with all these different things going on. And then as we get further in the period, this is day 4, okay? So this would be to, let's see, today's day 1, which is Tuesday, tomorrow's day 2, day 3, day 4, this would be Friday, okay? Your excessive rainfall outlook just further to the east here. Arkansas, Tennessee, parts of Kentucky, Indiana up toward Bloomington, southern Illinois, parts of southeastern Missouri, and most of Arkansas and northern Louisiana as well. And as we get further down in the period here, we have this potential for heavy rain, like this is the day 3 to 7 U.S. hazards outlook, 24th. See the 23rd through the 26th here. We talked about that, and the 24th here as well, and the 27th. So expecting heavy rainfall in these same areas again, and you see how we're just staying in the southern Georgia here and parts of the southeast. We're staying out of this heavy rain, which kind of stinks, but that's just the way it is. And this is your total precip expected in the next 7 days, okay, based on the latest model guidance. Down here in parts of Mississippi, parts of Missouri, and parts of the California mountains, and the parts of the Oregon near La Grande. It's the most precip expected in the next 7 days, 2 to 3 inches possible here or more, depending on where these heavy rainfall areas set up, and also in the Texas here as well. As far as the overall synoptic pattern, which is the overall mid-level flow here, I want to go over this real quickly, and you can see, oops, I'm not sure why I did that, but wow, that's weird. But you see to start with, we had our mid-level flow with short waves moving through. Generally, this mid-level feature, upper-level feature hangs out west here with multiple short waves moving through the flow here. And this is going to continue with maybe it moving to the east and northeast here. Then eventually towards the end of the period, looking like we're going to get some disturbances moving into the southeast here. Now let's stop this. All right, so getting into Tuesday, Monday into Tuesday. Okay, let's back it up a little bit. Go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just multiple disturbances moving through the mid-level flow here. Eventually move to the east. This is the GFS, all right? And you have maybe some ridging hanging on in between this here, right? Which is kind of forcing the system to move away from the southeast. I have another mid-level feature off the west coast here. Then it looks like this trough is going to dig along the eastern seaboard with some ridging building out west, all right? And then further down the period towards the beginning of May, we get the building of this low, which is a characteristic of the flow early in the year. We had a lot of large-scale troughing on the northeast here, all right? And we haven't had that much lately in the southeast. And the GFS is looking like it wants to bring a system through the southeast But you see generally overall lower pressures in most of the continental U.S. with large-scale ridging um, not really present here. So if this does play out, we could get some moisture back into the southeast. And here you can see again where most of the precip is expected. Although if how this scenario plays out will dictate where the heaviest rainfall amounts are, and we can't really predict this far out. But this is just a general overall where the model thinks it's going to be. Now, if we look at the GFS, which is the ensemble, right, for this, mean QPF total, looks like we're going to get some rain in the southeast, but the highest amounts would be in the Dixie Alley area, right? Memphis, Knoxville to Nashville, up into Nebraska, right? And kind of the East Coast kind of staying out of it, unfortunately, right? West Coast still getting some, desert Southwest staying dry. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see how the pattern evolves in the coming days, okay? As far as the severe weather until Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to have a lot of trouble getting instability far north here into Wednesday. The dew point temperatures, although the mixed layer cape on the NAM is showing pretty high here, the moisture available in the atmosphere is relatively low. All right, so the 60-degree dew points don't make it that far up here. However, if the convection can fire off the higher terrain, which it has the potential to do, if we go back to the severe threat here, um, composite radar, again, this is focused on Wednesday and Thursday. Showers and storms, but not severe down here. Just general showers otherwise, and some rain out west. Some storms may be firing up here in the evening hours, right? Into Nebraska, okay? Down here in parts of Texas, not showing any rotating updrafts, although in Texas, maybe in the evening hours, we get some rotating supercells, okay? But not showing a lot going on there. So we move to the north here with this. Storms fire maybe off the higher terrain and maybe scoot off to the north here, okay? Now we move into Thursday. Maybe some more intense convection getting going here up to the north with that line. The NAM wants to bring this line of storms to the east here, okay? And this is in the 2 p.m. Just general showers here at this point, okay? Get a little bit further out with the NAM regional model. See if we go back to the radar. Showers and storms ongoing here, maybe with this line. And snow in the Intermountain West here and up into Canada. Pretty intense low pressure surface low up to the north. Rainfall down here in the parts of Louisiana, Mississippi. Okay, 5 p.m. Maybe wants to get some more intense storms going in this area here. And that's where our severe threat is for Thursday, right? So let's go to Thursday. Okay, so that's where our severe threat is, right? So the storms can fire in this area. We definitely could have some severe weather on Thursday. So eventually that convection moves out, right? And you start into your period on Friday with severe weather again. Pretty crazy stuff here, guys. I wish I had more time to go over this, but this is generally what's expected to happen. I'll be posting updates and sharing on social media my thoughts in the coming days. Stay safe out there. Hope you all have a great day and God bless you all.